You guys tell me when you're ready.
Yeah, we're ready.
All right. All right, welcome. I am Chris, and I'm here with Sub Sierra. You guys want to introduce yourselves real quick?
Yes, thank you, Chris. I am Clay. I am a vocalist for Sub Sierra.
Yeah, and I'm Chris. And I make the music, basically. Do a little bit of singing. Maybe. Possibly. We'll see. We'll see soon.
All right. How you guys feeling?
Feeling good, dude. Feeling good.
Good.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's my day off, so I'm feeling saucy right now.
Hell yeah.
All right. So for our opening question, it's just going to be, if you had to describe the moment that your music journey started, not the nitty gritty of like, you picked up your first guitar or you sang your first song, but when this group really got started together, what was the moment like? How did that feel?
Basically, Clay had a band over and they were recording their first song with me, and then we got together shortly after that, I believe, or was it before?
After.
I think it was after, yeah. Because we had gotten together like a few times over the last few years, just messing around. And Clay had some songs that he was trying to work out, I think, with his band, but I listened to his demos and kind of put some stuff together. And I don't know, I kind of had a vision for it. So I showed it to him and he liked it and threw his vocals down, and I think it was a completely different beast after that.
I would say I kind of like produce a little bit on my own, make kind of my own stuff, and not nearly anywhere near the skills that Chris has. So then I would be like, oh, this sounds really cool, but I don't really know how far I can go with my personal skills. So then I sent it over to Chris, and I was like, dude, you think you can do anything with this? And Chris did some cool stuff with it, and we were like, dude, like let's roll it, let's keep going, let's keep doing this, see what we can make together.
Yeah, it sounded cool once we got that first song kind of nailed. It was Wasted.
Yeah.
I thought it sounded really cool. I showed it to some friends and they're like, yeah, you should keep working with this kid. Because, I think it sounds pretty sick.
Yeah.
So speaking of your first song, I've heard Wasted. I've also heard Sympathy, which is a new song that you guys actually have out, right?
Yeah.
So something that I noticed about it was actually the sound is very unique. So that brings me to my next question. What is it that inspires you guys? What other artists or what are your musical influences? Because it's something that I've never heard before.
I would say it's funny that you say unique. That's kind of been my whole point as a musician, just to kind of have my own sound and sound unique. But besides that, I've always listened to a lot of old school, psychedelic rock, stuff like that. I'm a surfer, probably has a huge influence in the kind of music that I make, and
Yeah.
what I do with my my music. But yeah, Pink Floyd, it's a really cool band. Actually, I don't listen to Pink Floyd all that much, but I like the idea of them. I like the idea of them. So I guess that's that's kind of how it is. But I mean, as far as influences, I would say it's the biggest one is life experience, and that's what I try to put into my songs. Just put all the life experience that I have, into my songs. So
Cool. Yeah, I mean, like, for me, I'm all over the place. When I first heard Running with the Devil going into Eruption or Van Halen, that's when I like picked up a guitar and was like, yeah, I need to be able to make like at least a fraction of that sound. So that was like my first biggest influence. I listened to my parents' music growing up, like 70s and 80s rock and stuff. So that was like definitely like my foundation, like Van Halen, Boston, Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, stuff like that. I feel like that's every guitar player's story, but I mean, it was mine. And we listened to other stuff too, like I've been a big fan of Michael Jackson, a lot of the Motown stuff, early Motown stuff. more so like on the funk side of things, like Sly and the Family Stone, like Parliament, like stuff like that. And then a lot of the post disco stuff that came like right after that, was really into that kind of stuff. And then more modern bands, I started playing my acoustic and trying to sing, listening to bands like the Kooks, Ben Queller, Arctic Monkeys, stuff like that, where it's like more simple song structures, but like taught me how to sing and play and stuff and kind of like write music. So that was kind of like in my teenage years. And then like more recently and over the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, been super into The Weeknd. Initially because he sounded like Michael Jackson in some of his stuff. So I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like I hate to say this to like any fans of like true EXO fans of The Weeknd. Like I discovered him from Beauty Behind the Madness, like I Can't Feel My Face, In the Night, because those are like totally like hat tips to Michael Jackson for sure. But then I kind of discovered more of him, and it's really dark, but the biggest thing about it is that it creates this whole universe. So every time that he's making an album, it's like he's method acting, you know? And I really like that, because I think there's a lot of artists that just go through the motions, and, you know, they get a bunch of songwriters together and they, you know, make their product, but there's not like a whole image and like universe behind it. It's not thought out. It's not made like a movie. Like, I think that's something that I'm definitely influenced by The Weeknd, is his like, he's super into movies, and a lot of his stuff draws from that. So that's kind of a big influence for me. And he works with this guy, Mike Dean, who's like a synth god. Basically, that's what they call him. So that kind of sound, like very cinematic type of stuff, is definitely embedded in some of my sound for sure.
So tell me about your guys' name, Sub Sierra. How'd you guys come up with that name?
Well, actually, it's we live pretty close together. So I live in the neighborhood across the street. So the street that, you know, kind of divides us in the middle right there is Sierra. And also, you know, we're in Clovis, California, which is, what the base of the Sierras?
The gateway to the Sierras.
Gateway to the Sierras. That's what our Fresno airport says. So, you know, we went with it. It sounds like a cool name. And
yeah, we were like kind of like, Sierra like separates us right here. So we're like, we want something that like kind of like is a nod to where we come from, kind of. So like we have Sierra right here. Our town is the nickname is the gateway to the Sierra. So like, okay, we should play off something like that. And I was like, I'm a big fan of Frank Ocean. So if there's any Frank Ocean fans, something that instantly stuck in my head was the song Sierra Leone. And that song's super cool. So I was like, Sierra Leone, that sounds cool. We got to play off something Sierra, like a name. I think initially we were like going for like a name that could be like a person's name, like Sierra something. And then we just ended up
can't use Sierra Mist.
Yeah, no, Sierra Mist. So we ended up on Sub Sierra because it basically is like sub, like under the Sierras, which is like where we are. So that's kind of the genius behind it.
yeah.
Hopefully your name doesn't dox you guys.
I know.
So you guys have a couple songs out.
Yeah.
One of them you turned into a music video. So once you had that first song ready, like where did the idea of making the music video come from?
I knew I wanted to like create visuals for our music. I didn't want it to just be, you know, I mean, I guess I used to call it garage band. Now it's like bedroom producer, bedroom rapper. I didn't want it to just be that. I wanted there to be more to consume with it. So, I mean, the storyline of the music video kind of follows what the lyrics are about. I knew I wanted to shoot the video, but I mean, Clay wrote the song, so he kind of knows like the storyline of what it's about.
Yeah, I guess it's it's about kind of a girl who you call, her who only calls you when she's drunk, right? And she wants attention. And it's also just another song about, personal growth and moving through life and figuring yourself out, and yeah, and this and that, and
this and that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You gotta listen to it and check it out. And
You said you're really into visuals, right?
Yeah.
You really wanted a lot of visuals in the music video. So how did you approach actually planning that out?
I mean, I was just kind of going off of his lyrics to get kind of like the storyline. I mean, his lyrics, they already kind of tell the story, so I just kind of wanted to just basically follow that. And I mean, we have like kind of an intro in the video. So I kind of like added a little bit of an element outside of the lyrics, because obviously he's got this thing going on in the song where this girl's only calling him when he's drunk. He's tired of it, So I wanted to add something more to that, because I wanted our video, like I said, like the whole cinematic thing, I wanted it to be, more than just like the song starts right when the video starts and it's just, your run of the mill music video. So I kind of was thinking, like we're trying to make these songs, and, he's got this situation with this girl going on, and it's distracting basically. And we're trying to get the stuff done, and he's on his phone. If you watch the video, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's basically, we kind of, added a little bit extra on top of what the lyrics were explicitly talking about.
yeah, I mean, go check out the video yourself and see what you guys think about it.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube, and it's also on Apple Music. So yeah.
Yeah. And if you have, for some reason, I can't see it on my Spotify account, but apparently it's on Spotify too. If you can watch music videos on your Spotify, it's on there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you pull up the song on Spotify, like on your phone, and you're actually actively looking at it, it'll play the music video.
Oh, really?
When you play the song.
Oh, really?
That's cool.
Yeah. I think it's a feature. It's a feature that they added with some podcasts too. So like with the Joe Rogan podcast, I think for a while it was exclusive to Spotify.
Yeah.
They add the video like aspect to it now too.
That's cool.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see like podcasts and stuff. For some reason, I can't see our video on Spotify, but it's live. It says it's live.
I don't own Spotify, so
it's there. Check it out.
So, still regarding the music video, because you said you really wanted it to have like these cinematic visuals. You wanted to have a story with it. What were some of the challenges that you faced, like in terms of like creative direction and trying to really get what you had in your head like actually out?
I mean, I've never written a script for anything before. I don't do anything in film besides edit my business Instagram videos. So I kind of like came up with like a little script, at least for like the intro part where there's like some dialogue back and forth. And it's definitely a steep learning curve, because it's one thing to like write out the script and be like, okay, that sounds good. And then we start acting it out. I'm like, yeah, this.
How would I say that?
This is corny as it can get. And it might still be, honestly. It might still be. I don't know. You have to see it for yourself. But it was definitely hard to convey like the message that I was trying to convey with the tools that we have, which is us. Yeah. Not actors.
I think
and not a freaking screenwriter, not a script writer.
I think we did good though for our skills, and
I like the way it turned out. Yeah, definitely. Really cool. I mean, we had some help from
really cool
someone.
Yeah, really cool.
He's got a cool name.
Yeah, a really cool videographer that we know.
Yeah.
So that photographer helped us out. So big shout out to our other friend Chris.
He sounds like a great guy.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
He's a cool guy.
So while you guys were filming the music video, was there like a moment that kind of stood out to you guys where you were like, damn, we're making something out of this?
I can, yeah. So like when we were at that parking garage shooting Clay's scenes, and we didn't you didn't rehearse anything, I'm pretty sure, and like we didn't really do any rehearsals because there's not really any, we didn't have anything. We were just like, okay, this is a cool location, let's like just spitball some things. And like we started rolling like when like in the chorus and stuff when you were singing out there, and I was like, okay, like Clay like put on this like whole different face, and he was like getting after like he was on a stage or something. I was like, okay, all right, yeah, this looks pretty sick actually. I mean, that for me, that was like when I was like, yeah, this is gonna be tight.
It's my front man energy.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have that vibe. So like you said before, you're really good at talking. So you could just about talk about yourself out of anything.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
So you guys have both said right now that neither of you are like, you've never been on a set before. You don't have experience like writing, screenwriting. You've never done anything film wise.
Actually, I've been on that one news guy, Kobe. He had me say something one time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were at
I guess I
Wild
kind of
August.
did too. There's this chick Sparkle. She does a show down at the Met.
Chick Sparkle, dude. Okay.
Yeah, I did a song on her show one time, but that was,
Really?
I mean, that's it. Yeah. Well, actually, there was another show at the same studio. It's at the Met. It's in the basement of the Met downtown. I forgot what the other show was called. I was playing with my friend Trey, but yeah, other than that, yeah, never been on camera for anything.
Yeah.
So now, given this experience being on set for like a film, like filming an actual, skit-based music video, comparing that to your music, like what did you guys experience in the creative differences between, writing a song, recording it, and doing all of the producing to it versus acting and like, actually putting up your face for the camera?
It was fun, honestly, because I feel like with the song, I mean, we didn't really start out like from scratch really, because he already had his demo. And I was just basically writing music to it to a degree to at least fit like the structure of his song.
We redid the beat, but yeah.
Yeah.
You redid the beat.
Yeah. Like he had his lyrics and his melodies. So like I kind of had a little bit of a canvas to work with there, but with the music video, it's like the subject matter was already there. So it was just kind of like, it was hard because we hadn't done anything in that medium before, but it was also really fun and kind of like, we were kind of free to just, okay, we got this song. Now we can do anything with it. We can make, what do we want this to look like? And it could be anything. So to me, it was pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say one of those things, like with music, as you're writing a song, you can kind of see it coming together a little bit more. With like, making a video like that, you're just like, okay, you don't really see it until the end and it's all edited and everything's done. So you're like, I don't know how it's going. We're going to find out,
Yeah.
You're just kind of, walking into it, no expectations, and just see how it goes. So.
Yeah, it's very much a, trust the process kind of thing when you're on a set.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Especially when we're doing our lines right here. I'm like,
yeah.
I hope Chris is good.
Yeah. Hope he gets some good editing.
It's a lot of takes going through them and just kind of, trying to figure out which one's going to work best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, you really just got to trust the process. Cause then afterwards, like you see it in the editing and you're like, okay, now you got to work with it.
Definitely
Yeah.
takes a village.
Yeah, 100%. It takes a good crew.
Yeah, no, like I remember I actually I worked on a short film a few years ago, and it like I only went to be part of the muscle. I wasn't even supposed to be in the film. Like I was just supposed to go help do the heavy lifting for like carrying the equipment on the set.
And they're like, "Oh man, you kind of look good doing that heavy lifting."
No, well, what happened
Lift a
was
little more.
no, what happened was we had a guy there who was supposed to be an extra because it was like a horror film, right? And so he was supposed to be like one of these like minions. So we had him wearing a mask, and then homeboy just left us.
Oh,
Like he left midway through shooting when we were barely shooting the first scene. So then my buddy who was directing it was like, Chris, we need you to put the suit on and like be in the film. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, what do I do? And he goes, you're going to stand there. And I'm like, so my first time acting, I'm just going to stand there. All right. Thanks for the role.
nice.
But like, you know, when I was in that same seat as you guys were recently, like I do relate to that. Like, I know what you mean by, you know, it's different because you're like, does this even sound good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right.
You know, but
For sure.
so given that experience now, how would what do you guys plan on? Let me rephrase that actually. The new experiences that you guys have gotten from filming that first music video, the new skills and that you've developed now and that you're still developing, how do you guys plan to, you know, transfer that over to your future projects? Because I'm assuming you guys are going to make some more music videos in the future with some of your new songs, right?
Yeah.
So how would
I would
you?
say so.
What do you guys plan? Like, what did you guys learn that you feel are going to carry over to the newer projects in the future?
We definitely learned some stuff like for that specific video. It's hard to say like what I would do in future videos because I feel like it's heavily dependent on what the song is and what the subject matter is. I mean, we have a song we're trying to finish right now that I think would be a cool video. But I mean, just kind of like generally speaking, probably plan it out a little more. I mean, or get a couple more heads in on it just to kind of like bounce ideas off each other before we just show up and start rolling.
I would almost say try to make it like not make as much sense. So that way we really can't mess it up. You know, if it doesn't make any sense, then we're, you know, like there's no way to mess it up at all. It's just like random cool stuff, you know, trippy stuff in the music video. There's really no way to mess that up. I mean,
like the Foo Fighters Everlong video.
Yeah, some stuff like
Dress
that.
up as women.
Yeah, or like Modest Mouse, you know, float on.
Oh yeah,
They're like robbing the bank or something. You know what I mean? Like we do some cool stuff like that, and it opens up a whole new world. So I think we're both really excited to see what
this next
they'll
song,
make.
whatever we do in the music video, I'm pretty sure one of us needs to be jumping off a roof doing a cannonball into a pool.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I
that'd
feel
be
like
dope.
that
Yeah.
might fit the vibe.
No, for sure. I think so.
It's like, see, as a fellow video editor, like,
Fellow, you're the only one here. I just do it because I have to.
see, like creative directness, you are probably a nightmare to most editors.
Yeah.
And I say this with the utmost respect because, like,
an endearing way.
yeah. So the
Nightmare.
reason I say is because, like, for a director, you being down to do just about anything is great because you give a director like just about any like no boundary of what they want to do. But as an editor, there's so many things like ideas that you'll have and changes you'll want to do on the spot that most editors would not have the patience for, and they would probably tell you to F off.
Yeah.
It's like I've met some editors that are like, dude, I'm on the 12th like edit of this, like 12th version of this edit for a video, and it's a 30-second clip, and they keep telling me, and I'm just like, hey man, whatever the client wants, you got to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like our whole point is to make your guys' vision come to life. And so I was like, I have a lot of patience as an editor, so I'm always like, whatever. But I've met some editors who are like, dude, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I can't keep editing this one clip. So it's like,
That's so funny.
like you having a new thought every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You would be a nightmare to a lot of people.
Tragedy.
It's like, but given all that, it also creates such a, like, again, unique style to what you guys do, because your music, converting that into a music video, given the visuals, like, you never know, no one ever knows what it is you guys are going to come up with next. And that gives you an edge on top of like any other duo group that's in any kind of genre. Because any band or any group, you hear one song, and then, pretty sure you guys have seen this, like, you hear one song, you hear the rest of the album, and all the songs sound the same.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and it's like all of your guys' songs, each one is different. No two songs are alike.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that you guys have that a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's kind of true.
Okay, so you guys got a couple of singles out. You got your first music video done. So without giving me too much, you know, because obviously we want to keep giving the people little bits, right? You want to keep teasing them. You don't want to give them too much right now.
Yeah.
But just for all the listeners and the viewers, what are some of the things you guys have, in the works? What's coming up in the near future?
We're trying to finish up some songs right now. Those are going to be pretty cool. But we want to start doing some live shows, and, we're still kind of brainstorming how we're going to go about it. Because obviously our songs are highly produced, and so it would be cool to do that version of the version that everyone knows live, figure out those logistics, but also we're pretty good at turning our songs into like a real stripped down version,
acoustic
as
versions,
well. Yeah, just acoustic vocals. So we'd kind of like to do some of that live.
Yeah.
Both ways. So I think we're kind of like tossing around, ideas on doing that here locally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, you guys kind of answered a few of my other questions. So music-wise, though, are there, if there are any, who would you guys want to collab with? Like, either in the near future, maybe some other local artist that you guys have,
I think
in contact with, or maybe even later on, like in your guys' journey, who would be someone you would want to collab with that would be like a dream collab for you guys?
I think pretty soon we're gonna reach out to Kanye West. I'm just kidding.
We just want to be on a big globe in the middle of SoFi Stadium.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
smoke everywhere.
I would like to continue collabing with other local artists around here. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it'd be awesome to do that, and just work on building the community, our music community over here, and I think that's the coolest part about music, bringing people together and getting to share it with each other and meet people, and it's a good part.
Yeah, that would be cool. There's a local guy named Brian Cade. I think it'd be fun to work with.
Yeah.
Definitely. B Cade, if he's watching this, let's get in the studio, bro. Let's do something.
Say another guy we could maybe collab with is Russell Bowman.
Russell's cool, yeah.
Russell's
Yeah, he's
another cool guy.
really breaking out of his shell
Yeah.
these days.
Doing some cool
Yeah,
stuff. So.
I was pretty impressed. We went out and saw him
Yeah.
downtown. What was that place called?
Dude, I don't know.
Forgot. I think it's kind of a newer bar
Yeah.
downtown. But yeah, they did like a little show or something from his college.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, like the guy who runs their whole like music program over there, I recognize him because he was one of my teachers back in like 2010 for like music appreciation, but obviously we both are 15 years older. And I was like, I think that's him. So I went up to him. I was like, do you play the trumpet? He's like, yeah, that's my main instrument. And I was like, dude,
So
you were my
random.
teacher, dude.
That's the question you asked.
Because we would be like, he would like the class. It was like in this huge, like, I don't know what it was like a huge like forum basically. And he would like bring his like trumpet and he would like put like, you know, like different little like attachments on it and like show us stuff.
That's so
But
sick.
it was like, he's like, oh yeah. He's like, remind me of your name. I was like, you probably don't remember, it was a long time ago. So back in like 2010, he's like, oh, that was the beginning of my career. Like, you know, it's like kind of funny, you know, because I'm going to be 35 soon. And like all of his students now are like 18, 19, 20, 21. So I don't think he was expecting that.
Did he recognize you though?
I don't know if he recognized, he probably had thousands of students since then, but anyways, yeah, no, Russell's one of his, they have like a whole like music like label and like studio and stuff. I'm like, they didn't have any of that stuff when I was going there. But yeah, Russell was playing over there and we got a pretty good reception from the crowd.
Yeah.
He's doing pretty good.
He's awesome. Got a lot of dedication.
Cool guy. Yeah, shout out Russell.
Yeah.
So 2 more questions about, you know, the future of Sub Sierra. The first one is, what do you guys plan to accomplish like by the end of the year? You know, we are about 5 months in, almost 5 months into the 2026. So what are you guys going to do to make the most out of this year? Like, what is it you guys plan on accomplishing?
I'm going to go a whole year without getting arrested. So that'll be...
Yeah, me too.
No, I think as far as, you know, keep building, you know, you can only do what you can do. As of now, I don't think we've had any goals that we've really talked about besides, you know, continuing to grow and continuing to make new music and maybe get some live shows under our belt and, you know, just continue to build what we're building right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like we want to finish a few more of these songs and we're releasing them as singles right now, but kind of like behind that, we want to put out like a full body of work with some of these singles as well, but kind of with some different elements added in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been in the background since the beginning. Because once we started getting a couple of these songs down, I started messing with them like as a whole, all together, and doing some cool stuff. So I'd like to kind of
we got
get to the
something
point
cool
where we can put that out, just to kind of give a different offering from what's been put out as like the single version of the songs.
So if everything goes well, where do you guys see yourselves in a few years?
I'd like to hit $1 million a year on my business so I can have other people do it for me and just focus on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If everything goes good, I see myself on a beach sipping margaritas. You know?
I mean, you could do that today, though.
Yeah, but then I'd be stressed out. I'd be like, I don't really got anything going. You know? You gotta make it first, and then you can just, you know, chill, surf, and sip margaritas.
Yeah. I mean, right now I'm grinding so hard.
Yeah.
Like, with my business, just to buy my time back so I can put more into stuff like this. So, I mean, I've got my goals and everything, but I'm like buried in the grind right now so that I can actually realize, you know, some of that stuff.
So speaking of the grind, you guys both have an extensive background in music, right? Playing multiple instruments, singing various types of songs, various types of music. Like Clay, I know you. I met you when you were still playing with I think it was a punk rock band, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, looking back on all of your guys' experience, what would be some advice that you would give to someone who's listening and is just starting out with like their musical journey? You know, it's like their very first time picking up an instrument, trying to figure out what they plan to do with it. What would you give to them?
When they're just picking up their instrument, play it every day, get good at your instrument, at least one. I mean, I always think either a guitar or piano, pick
or
it
your
up,
voice.
or your voice too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good to have a
good
physical
instrument, for sure,
instrument so that you
100%.
can write stuff too. Just, I mean, really practice it.
It also
because-
depends on where you want to go with your music, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of vocalists that don't play an instrument. I mean, Michael Jackson, obviously, he doesn't really play any instruments, but he knows exactly how he wants it to sound, you know, and that just takes, you know, a little bit of just God-given talent and just being also experience being around musicians and stuff. But yeah, I would say definitely like learn your instrument, practice it every day. It's better to practice 20 minutes or 15 minutes every day than an hour once a week or once every other week. You know, just play it consistently so that way you're developing, you know, something. Because I mean, it's kind of like the way I look at it, I have kind of like conflicting views on it. Like, I think that you should really practice your instrument, or whatever your instrument is, whether it's your voice or a physical instrument. You know, so that way when you start to write stuff or release stuff, get it recorded and stuff, you know, that it sounds good. But also the other side of that is, don't be so worried about what people are going to think too. Just put it out. You know, so there's kind of like a gray area in the middle where don't worry so much about being, you know, Eddie Van Halen on the guitar before you know, decide to put something out. You don't have to be, you know, someone like that before you can release something. But at the same time, you know, put some effort in to learn your craft too.
I would say that too. Yeah, I mean, don't be so concerned with what people think about you. You know what I mean? If you're really trying to get out there as a musician, you know, just do it. And especially if you're like trying to meet the right people, you keep going, you keep doing it, and keep putting effort in. You'll eventually meet the right people, and stuff will line up for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. So then, you know, looking back at this moment years from now, what's something that you know, that you want people to kind of think about or say when, you know, they look back at these kinds of moments after you guys are rich and famous and, you know, sipping on margaritas at the beach? You know, what is something that you would want people to like to think about or say about where this all started from?
I'd like people to look back and be like, you know, like look at the story and look at where we came from, and yeah, just really like, you know, just inspire people, you know. Keep doing it and keep moving on.
So if you really want to inspire people, do you guys think you could be able to play a song right now on the spot?
Yeah, I mean,
I think we could do something like that.
we did Wasted acoustically.
Yeah.
You know, we could probably do Sympathy. I think it's be simple enough for
We're
me.
gonna do our latest song, yeah.
I think I
Rip
could
it.
pick it up. Simple enough. Should we do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
I wanna
All
hear
right.
this.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And
Ready?
yeah, here's Sympathy. Hit it, Chris.
All right.
No, I don't need sympathy. I found out who's truly me. I spaced out my energy, became a new entity. Loving ain't easy, but you are just what I do it for. Living, then I learn mistakes, is what I use it for. Gripping in my system, I'm cruising up on my skateboard. Tripping in my vision, I'm wondering what I stand for. I've been trying to leave this condescending company. Couldn't tell you why, but it always seems to come from me. Just a young boy obsessed with comfortability, trying to find a way to max my true ability. I don't need sympathy. I found out who's truly me. I spaced out my energy, became a new entity. In love with you
Woo!
Cool.
Yeah.
That was Sympathy. Check
Yeah.
it out.
Check it out.
That's our time.
That one was dope.
That was cool.